Hi, guys, and welcome to the first episode of the Voice Note with me, your host, Janelle Asha. The Voice Note is the mini-sode that's going to go alongside, or shall I say, in between episodes of Glorified Jist. So, Glorified Jist will come out one week, and then you'll have the Voice Note another week. So, I'm dropping two episodes at the same time. So, right now, you should have an episode of Glorified Jist out if everything goes to plan, and you'll have this episode of the Voice Note. I wanted to use the first episode of Glorified just to get straight into it so everybody knows what to expect in terms of segments, in terms of how long an episode will be, what I'll be like interacting with guests and stuff. Like start as I mean to go on. And then I'm gonna use the voice note to be a bit more intimate, let you guys know how I'm feeling, what it's been like starting a podcast, what you guys can expect, and that sort of thing. So let me break down the voice note. So if Glorified Gist is the link up that you have with your girls, say that's the girls' night in, that's your brunch, that's the joint walk you do to get 10K steps, then the voice note is the in-between moments you have online to keep you guys connected. So think the long voice notes you send your girls, FaceTime calls, phone calls, everything you do between the hangout. Um, in terms of Glorified Gist, that would mean that Glorified Gist are the audio and video episodes I do with a guest, and then the voice note episodes that I do solo. I may do guest episodes on the voice note, but for right now, we're keeping it as solo episodes with just me, and they are audio only. The reason why I've chosen to do this is because doing a podcast is hard work, okay? I have learned that this is not for the weak. Shout out all the podcasters who are doing this independently because wow, this is a discovery. I really didn't know how much went into it. I've had a couple errors on social media. I've had a YouTube error. I've had a talk show error. I don't know if I can say I've had a TikTok error. I was posting on TikTok a bit last year. But what I can say for every single error is that it's been inconsistent. And it's never been because I don't like posting. It's always been because of how hard it is to remain consistent, how much effort goes into it. And I have learned if you think it's effort to do a regular YouTube video, if you think it's effort to do a TikTok, come and see podcasting, especially if you're doing video as well as audio. I think my new opinion is the sweet spot was when all the podcasters started and they were audio only. I've listened to the receipts for a long time, for example, and they started at audio only. And I that is a sweet spot because adding video is a whole nother component. All the things that go behind the scene on podcasts as well in terms of getting it out there on several platforms. Wow. Like I said, it's a discovery and I'm learning. But I'm enjoying it. Um, but yeah, I didn't want to set the bar too high for myself and feel like I couldn't deliver. So if I do bi-weekly episodes of Glorified Gist and I can commit to filming, editing, all of that stuff, and then I can do the voice note episodes in between and it's a lot less pressure. I don't have to put myself together physically. I don't have to go anywhere. I can do it at home. I don't have to organize with a guest because logistics is another thing I'm now discovering. Like it just makes it easier. I think I can sustain it. Yeah, and I'm enjoying myself anyway. It's only the beginning, but I've been doing a lot of background work and I'm really enjoying myself. And so I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, that is the difference between Glorified Gist and the voice note. The voice note is under Glorified Gist, but it's a mini-sode. And episodes drop every Tuesday, but every 10th Tuesday, there'll be a break. So you'll have Glorified Gist, then the voice note, Glorified Gist, then the voice note up until 10 episodes, then there'll be a week break, and then we'll be back. Um, and that's just because I anticipate there will be some form of burnout or there needs to be like a recovery period. Or maybe it'll just give me time to reflect on what I like, what I don't like, give me a week to change things up and then come back. Who knows? I'm new to this, but yeah. So from this point on, it'll be Glorified just one week and then the voice note in the following week. But I wanted to drop two episodes at once just so that people could kind of get the full picture and know what to expect. The Glorified Just episode will give you an idea of what it's like when I'm in the thick of like talking about topics. And then the voice note one gives you an opportunity to learn what Glorified Gist is, but also give you insight into why I've started this and what the process has been like and that sort of thing. Um, but guys, that episode, don't judge the first episode. I would say pay attention to the content and not so much the visuals and audio, okay? If that's possible. Um, the visuals were fine. They were actually really good. And I think I accidentally kicked Maria's camera, like the stand. And now it's ever so slightly off. So you guys will, if you watch it on YouTube at Janelle Asha, then you'll be able to see that she's like in the corner of the camera instead of in the center. It's not a huge deal. It's just like, we looked, we looked at the camera before we pressed record, so to see that it's kind of off is a bit irritating. But I'm just being calm about it because I know these things are going to happen. Another thing that happened was that my mic, which you guys will be able to hear, I had to scrap the audio from my mic. So I have two mics. They're different brands. Yeah, brands. They're different brands, and the one that Maria was using is the one I've been using, so I'm comfortable with it. I know what to do, and you can hear and you can hear her quite clearly. Me, I was using a new mic. I've tried it out once, but I tried it out independently, and I think it just doesn't work well with another mic, like in terms of editing. I ended up it sounded really robotic and like underwater. I know you guys will probably listen and think, well, you sound underwater anyway, but it was worse. So I had to scrap my audio and combine the audio with what was left over from me with Maria's mic and the camera audio, put that together, and that's what you can hear. So forgive, okay? Forgive. It's a bit, yeah, but like I said, it's a learning, it's a learning experience. I'm learning a lot, and I'm trying not to put too much pressure into building it. I've set the foundation. We know what Glorified Jist is. I have the voice note. I'm committing to doing it every Tuesday, or releasing every Tuesday, shall I say. And everything else we'll just figure out along the way. Even the fact that I don't have an intro. So I don't know if anybody would have noticed. I don't have an intro or outro in terms of like music. So when I did my talk show before, I tried to do everything before, and I really put in intense amount of work, and I noticed that I was getting so burnt out and frustrated that I didn't enjoy the process because I was trying to make sure that everything's perfect. We've learned that I'm a perfectionist. We talk about this in the beginning of the Glorified Jist episode. If you want to know more, please go and watch that or listen to that, however you prefer. Yeah, I really didn't want to do that again. I really want to, whatever creative venture I take next, which obviously is this, I want to be able to enjoy it. I want to be able to slow down and just not get frustrated. So I am putting out content with just what I have. So no intro yet, because I don't know what sound I want. If you have any suggestions, let me know. And it was just another thing on the to-do list that's just gonna have to wait. So we're releasing the first demo. Well, it's not a demo because this is it, but I'm releasing the first project, protege. There's a word, comment down below if you know what I'm talking about. I'm releasing the first version, and then as I go on, I will add things, take things away, refine. And yeah, I'm excited for the journey. But do you know what I wanted to talk about, guys? How quickly things change. So right now I'm recording on Monday the 12th, which is the day before the first episode drops. And the I recorded episode 1 of Glorified Jist last week, at the end of last week, right? Obviously, we're at the beginning of the year, so not much is going on. I didn't expect much to go on anyway. I thought everybody would be in their like new year, new me thing. This year, everyone's decided they're not eating sugar. There's no sugar, no carbs, 75, a trillion, all of these things, right? So it's been quite quiet in terms of reality TV, popular culture, and internet discourse, yeah? Um, there has been some things in politics, and to be honest, I'm not going to shy away from politics on the podcast, but I don't want to start that way. I want to set the tone for what will encapsulate most of Glorified Gist, and then we can bring elements of politics in when it makes sense. But yeah, there's been a lot going on in terms of politics, and everything else has just been like no sugar, blah, blah. So if you haven't already, go and listen to Glorified Gist. But if you have, then you'll know that I spoke about Arnell Armand's video on what she doesn't want to see in 2026, and we made a episode based off of that. So I recorded at the end of last week. It's like as soon as I pressed pause, everything blew up. Desmond and Christy, the TikTokers, are getting divorced. Selena Power went on a podcast and says that Offset owes her 15K and that she ate his bum bum. Like the Real Housewives of Potomac seating plan dropped, and Stacey is first chair and Giselle is not. I think that's only ever happened one other time to Giselle, I think. Um, Dami and Indiyah broke up, and Indiyah cheated. My God, today. Like it all blew up, and I'm like, damn. I could have had a phenomenal first episode had I had all this information, but everything else has dropped between yesterday and the night before. So I missed the window. But it's fine. I'm gonna get used to it because I suspect this will happen to me many a times. And that's exactly what the voice note is for. Because if I'm dropping glorified gist every other week, bi-weekly, however you say it, then I'm gonna miss a lot in the in between. And the voice note will allow me to share my thoughts raw and uncut before the episode. But yeah, should I talk about Dami and India? So basically, my next guest, who I'm also really excited to have, we've already been sending each other screenshots. Like, we are going to talk about it on the next episode. So I'm not too fussed about getting into it now. But what I will say is, I'm standing 10 toes behind my girl. I'm standing 10 toes behind my girl. Sorry. Is cheating right? No. Am I condoning it? No. But I also think that we don't have the full story. Obviously, we don't have the full story. We don't know these people. India already told us she ain't commenting. The guy who she allegedly cheated with has not really given much. She said, yeah, we kissed, but he didn't really give much. But I just feel like either either we don't really have the breakup window. You know, like sometimes couples are rocky and then you might end up doing something and then getting back together. I don't know. Either we don't know the breakup window or her hand was forced. And when I say her hand was forced, I just mean that sometimes you go through things or are treated a certain way, and this is all speculation because I don't know these people from nowhere. It kind of makes you feel like, let me just go and blah, blah, blah. Should you do it? No, the appropriate thing is obviously to leave. But all I'm saying is, I don't think it's like, oh, I'm in an amazing relationship. This person is treating me perfectly. Let me go and sabotage it. That's what men do. Okay. And if you don't like my stance, you probably won't like Glorified Jist because I am standing 10 toes behind women most of the time. But yeah, I don't think I'll get too much into it because I think there's going to be a lot to say um, on the next episode of Glorified Gist, and I'm gonna proper break it down. One thing I feel like is missing in terms of podcasting and just social media in general right now is everybody getting the full story or trying to find as much information as they can before discussing something. And so I obviously don't want to do that here, but I also feel like that's something that Glorified Gist is made for. Um, like getting the full story before discussing things and also doing the research in terms of the social science element behind it to kind of have like a better discussion. I think I'm all for lighthearted gist, which is why there's gist in the name. Um, but I also think we have to have more informed discussions and we have to be willing to go the step further, to read a bit more, to be critical thinkers and just try to keep our minds sharp in a world that is trying to dumb us down. They want us to smooth out the brains, and I prefer my brain with ridges, is all I can say. But yeah, I won't say too much when I'm in India. I just wanted to come and drop the first episode of Voice Note and let you guys know what you can expect. What should I end with? Maybe what I'm most excited for. Okay. I think, okay, two things. The first thing I'm most excited for in terms of what's actually in the episodes is Pillow Talk. So, guys, if you don't know, go and watch the first episode. But Pillow Talk is the segment at the end of each Glorified Gist episode where the guest is given a confessional card and they get to write down something that they wanted to say during the episode that they couldn't, or maybe a story they preferred to keep to themselves, but they don't mind it being anonymous. Maybe thoughts they have on me. It doesn't matter. Like I will never know. I give them a card, they write it down, it goes in a little secret compartment, and then I when I eventually gathered enough, I'm thinking about maybe 5, so 5 episodes deep, then the guests will read them out at the top of the episode and we'll just get to speculate who said this and just enjoy their story or just like who know I don't know what will come out of it, but I'm so excited for that because it's like a hidden element even for me. I think it's so much background work that you have to do for a podcast, which I'm realizing now. Um, and so you don't get that experience that you usually get. Like, so obviously I watch quite a few podcasts and being on the outside, you just get to sit and enjoy. And even though I'm really enjoying it, it's not the same when you're the planner and the organizer. But the Pillow Talk segment gives me something that I get to enjoy in person and hear live just as the audience will and my guest will. And I'm excited for that. I really want to hear what people have to say. So if you are coming on the podcast, make sure your Pillow Talk segment and your confessional card is juicy. I don't want anything boring, yeah. I want to be gasping or shocked or gagged, who knows, when we read out what's on your card. So yeah, guys, that is a voice note and a little bit of what you can expect from Glorified Jist. You can listen every Tuesday. You can watch on YouTube or listen on Spotify. Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or wherever else you get your podcasts in terms of major streaming platforms. You can follow Glorified Gist on social media as well. So we're on Instagram at Glorified Gist Pod and on TikTok at Glorified Gist Pod as well. The gist is spelled with a J, not a G. The J is for Janelle. You can follow me on my personal socials at Janelle Asha on Instagram and TikTok. I'm not on Snapchat or Twitter. I got banned. We'll talk about that another day. If this sounds like something you're interested in terms of you're someone who loves popular culture, reality TV, internet discourse, you love a bit of gist, but you love social science, and you don't have to have studied it to love it, but just you like to think deeper and question things, and Glorified just sounds like something you love to contribute to or be on, come on the podcast. Come on the podcast. Guys, I've got about 4 people who I can confirm will be on the pod. And after that, I'm going to be begging in people's DMs anyway. So you might as well help me. So DM me. You can DM me on Instagram or on Instagram at Janelle Asha, or you can DM the Glorified Gist Instagram page. I think those are the best 2 ways to contact me. And come on the pod. I'm open. Maybe we'll end up as friends. Maybe we'll hate each other. I don't know. I kind of would love that too. But yeah, guys, that has been the first episode of the Voice Note. Thank you for tuning in if you've got all the way here. Make sure you go and listen to the first episode of Glorified Gist or go and watch it on YouTube. Let me know what you think. Make sure you're liking, commenting, subscribing. If you're listening, then please comment. I think you can comment on Spotify and you can rate the podcast on Spotify as well. You can rate the podcast on Apple. Yeah, give me feedback. What do you like? What don't you like? I'm open. Yes, but I have enjoyed this first episode and I will see you next week for Glorified Gist where we talk about Dami and Indiyah.